Hello and welcome to another very important video. Because in today's one, we're going to be interviewing Jeff Brennan, who, if you don't know who he is, he did the storyboards for Number 2's tmnt episode for the Fast Forward Season 2 episode, which was called Master Fighter 2105, which will see the Turtles fight the Master Fighter across the city. But sadly, the episode never got to happen, so we've only been left with his great artwork. Not to mention, he has also been worked on several other projects such as comic books, which he's even made his own one, and even been in or worked on TV shows, like I said before, with storyboards, and as well as in his artwork featured in The Big Bang Theory. So yeah.
Let's see. I've been doing comics for okay. Let's see. I started out. I went to the Joe Kubert School, and then my first job out of the Kubert School was a issue of Superman. I was doing backgrounds with Brett Breeding, and let's see. From there, I started doing some animation work. Real small show that I doubt anyone's ever going to see. It's called it was called the Toysters, and then that led to me getting more and more animation work. Let's see, what was the first show I did after that? I'm trying to think, but one of the shows I did was Courage the Cowardly Dog. I did like some commercial work. I did the Nanny, the Fran Drescher show. I did the animated titles for that, as well as Rosie O'Donnell's show. And then I ended up getting some more comic book work. I did Deathstroke the Terminator. And then I did special effects on the Expendables. I've done a little bit of everything, really.
Okay. Well, the first question is: did you watch the previous version of the Turtles?
Oh, let me think. Like the '80s one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, not so much. I read the comic books though.
And did you have to for a specific art style for the storyboards for the episode that he's doing?
Oh, what about the storyboards?
Did you have for like a specific art style for the episode?
Oh, they yeah. See that one, like I mentioned before, like I had a friend who was working there, and he was trying to get me work on the show. So I did like a storyboard test, and around that time they weren't hiring anyone, so they give you like model sheets and everything like that you have to follow. So yeah, you have to pretty much every show you do, they give you model sheets. Oh, I left out Dragon Tales. What else? Jumanji, Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters. It's been so many of them, I forget. But yeah, every show you do though, they give you like model sheets, and you have to kind of follow the style.
And was it quite hard to like translate the script into storyboards?
Not so much. No, it's something that I do pretty much on every job that I work on, so it's not something I'm used to, like with like Simpsons too. Like I did the Simpsons comic book, like that. Yeah, that's a good example. For example, Simpsons, that's like a very specific style, and you have to really match it really close. And you get model sheets and stuff like that, and it'll tell you, like, for example, how many points of hair Bart has, and how many eyes wide his head is, that kind of thing. So pretty much every show you do, they give you very specific guidelines on how to follow it. So
How did you find out about the job for the Toe episode?
for which episode?
And for the Toe episode.
Oh, well, that one, like I said, my friend was working there, so he tried to kind of get me working there, and unfortunately it didn't work out at that time. But most of my jobs I went to the Joe Kubert School, and that led to the first Superman job. Are you into comics too? Do you know who Dick Giordano is or was?
I don't think I've heard of him.
Okay, yeah, he was. I think he was like vice president there at the time, and he helped me to get my job on Superman, and then that was doing backgrounds. So after that, I did backgrounds for another show, and then when I got on my first show, somebody from that show left to go to another show, and then they would say, "Hey, they're looking for people on this show. Do you want to join us?" And then it kind of keeps going and going like that. Like you meet people at one job, and then they recommend you for another job and another job, that kind of thing.
And because your episode was never actually properly animated, and was you disappointed in that?
Oh, that one was not episode. You mean the one that's on my website, right? That episode
Yes.
of Turtles. Yeah, that was a test. I believe that show did air though, but I never got to see the final episode because that was they brought on other people, at that point.
Yeah, and well, there was a I did after that they did open the voices for the episode. Did you and did you get a chance to see that?
Oh no, I didn't happen to see that one now.
And was you watching the show at the time?
No, it's funny because like I was a really big fan of cartoons as a kid, but then once you start working in the field, I kind of stopped watching. I didn't watch as much as I used to. And like, yeah, once you kind of become a professional, I've heard this with other people too, like they don't really watch it anymore. I mean, you watch like your own episodes to see how it came out, but that's about it. Like I didn't really watch. I mean, I still watch some shows. Like I really like Invincible. Like I watch a couple of animated shows still.
Why did you want to become an artist?
Well, are you familiar with the work of John Byrne?
Yes, a little bit.
He pretty much was my main inspiration when he was doing X-Men. I love that stuff. I like this is amazing, and I followed all his work, and I actually got lucky enough to go to one of his Halloween parties. He's the artist. For those that don't know, he did X-Men. He had a big run on X-Men. He did Superman. He did Fantastic Four. He did pretty much every Marvel and DC character at one time or another. And he was a really huge influence on me. And that would be my definite motivation for getting into comics, his work. I told him that when I saw him recently at a show. I told him, I said, I'm really inspired by your work. You're why I became an artist. And he goes, oh, it's my fault. Like he's kind of like laughing. And as far as animation goes, I was really inspired by, have you know the show Star Blazers?
No, never heard of it.
Okay, but that was a Japanese anime, which really inspired me as far as animation goes. And then, so I got into animation as well because of that. And then, as far as my special effects, brief career, it wasn't very long, but that was, of course, influenced by Star Wars. Like I think a lot of people were influenced by the first Star Wars movie.
Um,
So,
and, and do you prefer to do storyboards or comics?
hmm. Well, I'm doing more comics now than I'm doing storyboards. I kind of like. I think I kind of like doing comics a little bit better because it's all on me. Like there's not with storyboards, there's a bunch of people you have to depend on to get the script, to get, it goes overseas, it gets animated. I mean, it's probably a little bit more exciting to see when it's on the TV, but with comics, it's very immediate. Like I can kind of work at my own pace, and a lot of the comics I do the writing as well. So it's like I kind of work at my own pace, and I just started working with somebody on a script now, and he's doing the plotting, and I'm doing the scripting on that. So it's a little easier because I can work at home. I guess I think storyboards are working at home nowadays too, but I think I probably prefer comics over storyboards.
And with the comics, do you prefer to do the cover or comic strips?
Well, I like to do both if I can. Yeah, the covers are kind of fun. Like the covers for my own comic are kind of fun because a lot of times I'm not quite 100%. Like when I finish an issue, then I'll do the cover for the next issue, and I have like a rough idea what the story's going to be. But a lot of times when I do the cover, it kind of inspires me in the writing. I'll be like, I'll start putting stuff together, and I'm like, oh, this would be cool. I'll put this in here, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to fit that into the story. So kind of kind of speeds up the creative process a little bit.
And we're talking about your project. And you talked to me about getting your work onto Big Bang Theory. How was you able to do that?
Well, that's funny. Whenever I tell people this story, they can't believe it. It's I mean, this was after I had worked in films and special effects and cartoons and stuff. But my mom was a big fan of Big Bang Theory, so she wrote to the set designer and said, my son has really great artwork. You should put it on the show, and she did. So, which was great. It actually worked. I thought she was crazy when she did. I'm like, why'd you give her that stuff? You're wasting that stuff. And then next thing I know, I get a call from them. So I was like, wow, it worked.
And was I to see and was I to see anyone from the set of Big Bang Theory?
No, I did that all remotely. I did that from New York, and they're in California. So yeah, but they put it on like seasons 8 through 12. I did meet the actor that played Raj because he was doing a signing here. But I was hoping to talk to him a little bit about the show, but he just had like such a big crowd. He knew my contact there and everything. I mentioned the person I knew, and he goes, yeah, I know her. And then that was kind of it. He was busy, doing a signing. So
Would I get much like recognition from your time or from the promotion of Big Bang Theory?
oh, do I get? Oh yeah. My sales picked up when I started doing that actually for my comic book, Cybergirl Lita. Yeah, but there was a little bit of a spike in sales at that time, and I I miss it only because like I'm still doing more comics, and I wish I got that recognition from the show now. So
because you worked on so many projects, which one has been your favourite one to work on?
Well, let's see. I was at Sony Animation for about 3 years. I really liked that. That was pretty good. That was where I did Jumanji, Ghostbusters, another show called Project Geeker. That was nice because it was like very stable. Like I was there for about 3 years and I would come in every day. And if they didn't have projects for us, they actually just paid us to sit there anyway, which was kind of nice. So we'd just hang out with our friends and, we'd come into work and just hang out, and it was a good pay. That's when I was living in LA. So I'd say probably working at Sony was probably one of my favorite. And it was a good crew, really nice people that I liked working with too.
And do you have any like least favourite project to work on?
I'm sure I do. I have to think for a minute. I was working for a company where I was doing a lot of like 3D renders for their products and stuff. And actually, there was two companies I worked at. I love doing 3D, but boy, there was these two places. It was just horrible. It was like a jail type atmosphere. Like you'd have to worry about like, if my daughter was sick and I need a day off, I have to worry like, oh, am I going to get fired? It was like really bad. I mean, I love doing 3D, but just these two I don't want to name them by name, but they're a nightmare to work for though.
And because you worked in comic books, and do you have a favorite comic book hero?
Well, I really like XMen, and I liked when I grew up with the XMen and like Captain Marvel, the Shazam, not, the people call him Shazam, but he's actually Captain Marvel. I like, especially the ones from the 40s are great. I love those too.
Well, we're going off that, and which one do you prefer more, Marvel or DC?
Well, I worked at DC for a while. I mean, as far as the working atmosphere, I loved working there, but I think as far as the characters, I think I'd have to say I like the Marvel characters a little bit more.
So one last few questions I have, which is a cult classic turtle question. Who is your favorite turtle?
Oh, see, I'm not a big Turtles guy. I was when I was like, it's funny. I got into it way before a lot of other people. Oh, I should mention too. I worked with Kevin Eastman on Heavy Metal Magazine. Did you know he owns Heavy Metal Magazine now?
No.
Yeah, he's like the president of that. So I worked with him. He's one of the creators. I guess I would say Raphael, maybe. But yeah, I worked with Kevin Eastman. He's a really nice guy. I did some work with him.
Oh, one thing, and would you like to promote anything?
Well, yeah, I guess my Cybergirl Lita website. It's called cybergirllita.com. It's got two L's, Cybergirl, and then another L for Lita, LEETA.com. That's my comic is on there.
Well, that's all the questions I got. Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate it.